Bet on Aces, 95.9 K-Ace Country.
It's been definitely under the radar, so to speak, but for 19 years, the Pahrump Arts Council sponsored a fiber art show in February, and we staffed it with volunteers, Pahrump Arts Council volunteers, and it became very successful over the years. And in recent years, the primary volunteers were the Shadow Mountain Quilters, who are always part of the Pahrump Arts Council. And at the end of the show last year, which was February 2015, they decided to keep the money that had been generated by the show. It was always a Pahrump Arts Council fundraiser over the years, so we used it for everything that we do in the community.
So why is it different that they kept the money? And before, did they give the money to the Pahrump Arts Council? What's the difference?
Well, it wasn't that they gave it to the Pahrump Arts Council, it was that it was our show. So everything went through the Pahrump Arts Council books. All of the income and all of the expenses were paid by the Pahrump Arts Council.
So this other group, the Shadow Mountain Quilters, was underneath the umbrella of the Pahrump Arts Council and their 501c3?
Yes, exactly. So and they were all members. They were always very supportive. We had a very good working relationship with the Shadow Mountain Quilters, as with all of our groups, all of the people who belong to the Pahrump Arts Council over the years. So it was unfortunate that a certain group within the Shadow Mountain Quilters decided to go down this path.
So they broke away from the Pahrump Arts Council. One of the members was on the board at the time. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, there were two members actually from the Shadow Mountain Quilters who were on our board. And as with most of our organizations that are under our umbrella, they would provide board members. So it was always, we tried to make it as open and as inclusive as possible. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there was very, very much so a lack of communication and a lot of deception, unfortunately, that was going on. So a lot of people on the Shadow Mountain Quilters side were aware of what was going on and what the intent was, and the PAC board was never informed of that.
And so ultimately, $3,100 was not given to the Pahrump Arts Council from that event. It was redeposited or deposited into a different account?
Honestly, I don't know where the money is. Mm-hmm. That's another question that the quilters would have to answer. But the way we had always run the shows, and all of our shows, everything that we've done, any income that we receive was run through the Pahrump Arts Council books and accounted for, and then our bills were paid. So essentially, we had paid all of the bills, the insurance, everything that it takes to run a show. We were responsible for all of that.
And ultimately didn't get the money from the show deposited into the Pahrump Arts Council.
Exactly, yes. So the money was kept somewhere, I don't know where, mm-hmm. and enough money was deposited by the treasurer at that time mm-hmm. to cover the expenses. So once all of the expenses were paid, then they retained whatever funds were remaining. And it turned out to be just over $3,000.